Sister Silverine, once again, it is a pleasure being here with you, sitting with you and having these discussions. And in our previous episode, we spoke about, addiction, but in that, you spoke about how people don't think right. Sometimes they let other people think for them, and that almost never works out well when you let someone else think for you. So there's so much concerning the topic of thinking, but you had mentioned specifically that people don't know how to think right. Now, what do you mean when you say thinking right?
Yes. So this is a very big topic. Why? Because we are constantly thinking. But everyone think that they are thinking right. But once you make a wrong decision, it means you were thinking wrong. Even in your own life, if you had taken a decision that was not right, it means that you did not think right. So it has to do with many things. Thinking right in relationships, in respect to ourselves. So let's say you and your family in the home, and for some reason or the other, who knows why, your spouse talking to you, and instead of you listening to him or her, you prefer to be on your phone, looking at your phone. And even though they're talking to you, you are not giving your full attention. So he is telling you, or she is telling you, well, listen to me. And you are saying, I'm listening, even though my eyes are here. But now that is not giving you full attention. So what is going on in your mind? You are thinking what it is to listen to. Why I have to look at you to listen to you? I could listen to you without even looking at you. So what is this? Your consciousness there? It's like, why listen to you? Why do I have to look at you to listen to you? And what that other individual will be thinking about you. It's a two-way thing right now. Because thoughts are constant. We are constantly thinking. Do you know that? One thing that don't stop is the mind working. The mind is constantly working, which means we are constantly creating thoughts. But what kind of thoughts are we creating? So there is a beautiful saying that the quality of my life depends on the quality of my thoughts. And that clearly shows that the life I have was based on the way I was thinking. So going back to these two individuals who are having a conversation because of they are in a relationship. And one individual is thinking, well, I don't have to look at him while he's talking. So that simple situation there is causing both individuals to think even more. Why she just cannot put down the phone and listen to me once? These are the thoughts. Who am I talking to? I want to get a message to her. We are discussing some issues here. She must give her full attention, or he must give his full attention. So there's a lot of thoughts happening in the minds of these two individuals until it reaches a point where he or she thinks it was a waste of time. But not only a waste of time, it was a waste of thoughts also. So this kind of, what we call it, attitude in relationship also causes bad relationship. It jeopardizes our relationship. So even though this individual is having a conversation with his spouse in order to correct a relationship, because there wasn't full attention on the other party, the relationship was not able to mend. So who was thinking right and who was not thinking right there? One party is trying to make the relationship work, while the other party was not. But both think that they are thinking right. For them, that is the right way. He is wrong, I am right. So who will ever be right if everybody else is wrong and I am always right? Who is thinking right? And what would be a right thinking? A right thought is a thought that will bring peace of mind to myself as well as someone else or the other individual. The right thought will create a good relationship. The right thought will create good relationships, whereas the wrong thoughts will jeopardize any relationship. Now, let's say the mother in the home sent her child to school, and for whatever reason, the child did not come home after school. It's getting late. The child is not coming. What thoughts that mother starts creating? I wonder what happened to the child. I hope he is okay. May not even think, I hope he is okay. I hope he did not get into an accident. I hope there is someone to help him. I hope he did not get kidnapped. How many negative thoughts we create on one single situation, and how many positive ones we create. Now, whatever is happening to that child at that moment, he could be in danger. But if someone is in danger, what do they need at that time? They need the right thoughts. They need positive thoughts. They maybe need your blessing to get out of it. But instead of creating such a peaceful and positive thoughts towards this situation now, we create a whole lot of more negative thoughts. So negative thoughts means that I am projecting negative energy towards this child wherever he may be. And this negative vibration will not help that child. What negative vibration does? It makes the situation worse. But at that time, that child needs some positive energies, maybe some blessings, good vibrations, because he may be in a situation. But how many of us understand that by creating all these negative thoughts towards that child who maybe need help at this moment, we'll be sending more problems to him? Do you know that? Many times we say, okay, the world situation is like this. It's not good. The world situation is not good. The world is in a mess. Who is saying the world is in a mess? Who is seeing that the world is in a mess? And who is making the world in a mess? Is it the world itself? The world is just the planet of 5 elements. Who is thinking? Who is sending the energy into the planet that the planet is in this condition? Let's say you heard of some disaster in some country. And what we do when we hear of some disaster, we think, okay, in what way we can help? So we are thinking about sending help. So we make the package, food packets, maybe we send clothes, maybe we send water, and we may even send money. So we are sending all of these things, material things. But what kind of thoughts are we also creating? Look at what has happened. How many people have died? Why did the water, the earth, or the earthquake happen? What God was doing, why God sent the earthquake? Together with those material things, we also create a lot of negative thoughts, and we are sending this negative vibration towards the planet. So what is making the planet the way it is? Who is making the planet the way it is? So are we thinking right by creating all these negative thoughts towards a situation and we expect it to be good? Do we expect the conditions of the world to be good when we ourselves are creating a whole lot of negative thoughts, which means we are feeding the planet with this negative energy? So what are we doing? And scientists have proven that more than 90% of our thoughts are negative. And out of all the thousands of thoughts that we are creating daily, if 90% are negative, what kind of energy are we producing? And where is that energy going? So why is the world in a mess? Who has the world in a mess? But none of us will accept that we are part of that problem. Because everyone thinks that they are thinking right. Am I right or correct to create negative thoughts about my child who really needs some positive vibrations? Am I right? Let's say your child may not be the brightest child in the school. Others may be brighter. Are you going to punish your child because he is not the brightest? No. But you can tell him positive thoughts, positive vibrations are where I am telling my child, next time, make a little more effort and do better. And so this question of positive thinking and the right thinking is a big, broad topic because we are constantly thinking, but we are not aware of the effect our thoughts are having not only on us, but on those who are with us as well as the planet. And so what is right thinking? Or what's the difference between how to think and what is the right thinking? So how am I going to think? Here my child is in a situation who needs help. How am I helping my child? But if I create such thoughts as, wherever you may be, I hope you are protected. May God protect you wherever you are. And send such positive thoughts and energy to this child that wherever he may be, he should be safe. And he can only be safe and protected if he is receiving positive energies, positive vibrations. Negative vibrations make the situation worse, whereas positive energies will help correct the situation and even help that child to come out of that situation. How to think? Think positive. What's the difference? When I think negative and I send negative vibrations, I am making the situation worse. And even in relationships, let's say spouses, I am thinking, well, my spouse is like that. He could never change. He will never change. He has been like that for so many years. But what that individual needs from you may be that positive energies, positive thoughts and vibration to help him to get out of his addiction maybe, or his substance abuse. So are we helping the situation when we continue creating all these negative thoughts towards that individual? No. Each time you create a negative thought towards the situation or the individual, you are just making that problem worse. But if you want to correct that problem, create thoughts such as, he was never like that. He was not born like that. I am sure he could get out of it. Someday he will get out of it. Now these positive thoughts are what is going to reach this individual who need help. And so by you constantly sending the positive thoughts, pure vibrations to him, that is what will reach him. And one day he will think, for how long I'm going to continue like this? And I'm always, every day I'm doing this. And my wife don't say anything. She is a good lady or good woman. Let me just change to please her. So all your days and your weeks and months of sending positive vibration to this individual have resulted in a positive outcome. And so this individual one day think, it's time for me to change. It's time for my wife to at least experience some kind of happiness. Because for too long, she was experiencing sorrow because of me. So there is always the reason to create positive thoughts, because positive thoughts will have a positive impact, whether it's on people or nature. And negative thoughts, of course, will have a negative impact, negative effect, of course, on people and the planet. So who is responsible for other people not being the way you want them to be, or other people not changing, as well as the planet being the condition it is in? Who is to be blamed? Is it someone else? Because we all will say, because of those people. I am not doing anything bad in the planet. I am a good individual. Everyone thinks that they are good, they are not bad. But how many negative thoughts and positive thoughts am I creating on a daily basis? If you wait, look at yourself on a daily basis. How many positive thoughts did I create today? You would realize that in comparison to negative thoughts, positive thoughts were few, very few. Whereas the negative thoughts outweighed the positive thoughts. So where is all this negative energy going? Towards whoever and whatever you are sending it to. You think that the planet is in a mess, the planet is in not good condition, look what is happening in the world. What kind of energy are you sending? Would it be better? Or if you think about someone, look how he is. Are you helping him to be better? So these are the things you really have to look into. The thoughts I create are doing more harm, or is it doing good? How to think and what to think. How am I thinking? Am I thinking positive? Am I thinking negative? And what is the outcome of it?
Now you mentioned in your explanation that roughly 90% of our thoughts during the day are negative.
Yes.
Now, as human beings, we seek happiness. That is something human beings desire, which is the reason why we buy all the things we buy and go all the places we go. We are seeking happiness. So then why is it fundamentally 90% of our thoughts are negative? Is it a social conditioning? Is it a condition in the human being? And how do we, let's say, start changing that probably to 85%? Or
it's a personal decision, personal or individual decision, because there is a word called dependency. Once we are dependent on something or someone else to make us happy, then we will be dependent for the rest of our lives and we will never be happy. But if we learn that whatever we have to be contented, be happy with whatever you have, and don't depend on a whole lot of things or for someone else to make you happy, you will never be happy then. And so many things has to do with dependency. And happiness is not a choice, do you know that? Happiness is not a choice. It's not I choose to be happy, Happiness is not a dependency. Because once you are dependent on something, then you'll have to depend on it for the rest of your life. And if it is not there, then you will never be happy. So it's that I decide to be happy if I want to or not. Let's say you would like to have a new car in the market, one of the best car. And you think to yourself, if I get this beautiful car, this new car, I'll be really happy. So good luck have it that you got the car. You bought the car in the market. And here you have your car, supposedly enjoying, oh my gosh, I'm so happy I got this new car. But whilst you're enjoying that car, if you get a bad message, your phone ring, and on the other side they give you a bad news, what will happen to your happiness? So it means you were not happy. You were enjoying a temporary pleasure. That is not happiness. Temporary pleasure. Pleasure is not happiness. Pleasure means I depend on something or someone to bring me happiness. And so once my happiness is dependent on something or someone, when that something or someone is not there, then what happens to my happiness? So that dependency is what needs to be cut off. Once I continue depending, I'll have to depend eternally. And so I have to decide if I want to be happy or not, and what my happiness depends on. So what my happiness depends on? My own inner state of mind. I condition my mind to be happy. I create thoughts about happiness for myself. So I want to tell you one story. It's a short story. An American tourist went to India to search for happiness, to search for spirituality. So he came upon a master, his guide. And the guide or his master invited him to his house. And when they went inside, the tourist only saw a mat and a lamp, a light. So he asked the master, he says, "Master, well, where are your furnitures?" So the master asked him, "Well, where are yours?" The tourist says, "Well, I'm just a tourist, I'm passing through." And the master says, "So am I." Which means, it's clearly giving him the message that nothing here belongs to me. Because when we leave the world, we leave everything that we have accumulated here. So my point is that what is the point of accumulating things to make you feel happy? Feel happy, not be happy. It is making us feel happy. But it's not a reality. The reality is to be happy no matter what. And if you could be happy no matter what, even if you have to sit on the floor to eat your meals, or even have to sleep on the floor, will you be happy? So there are so many things that is connected with being happy and how to be happy. Of course, we don't have much time today, but maybe at some other point we can talk more about it. So now I invite you to a few minutes of reflection. And in this reflection, we are going to look into our own happiness. What it is makes me happy, or what would make me happy. And whilst I reflect, I begin to realize that I have everything that I desire, everything to my heart's desire. Whether it's a big house, whether it's a big car, a beautiful family, everything is there. But yet still, I am not happy. And whilst I reflect, I begin to realize that none of these material and physical elements can give me that happiness, that satisfaction or contentment that I need. But I need to go within myself and look into what is causing these desires. And as I look within, I realize that there is a big void within me. A void means there is an emptiness. And I think that if I fill this emptiness with all the material things, I will be happy. But it is not like that. Because this void is not a physical void, but it is a spiritual void. And if I can fill myself with spirituality, with the powers that I need to be happy no matter what, then whether I have the newest car in the market, the oldest one, biggest house or small house, I am equally happy. Because happiness is not a dependency. Happiness is a decision. I decide, I choose to be happy if I want.
Sampex Limited, networking societies for a better future.